Welcome to our show, Umbrellas of Hope. We are committed to enrich the life of members of the veteran and military community by connecting them to the resources that they need. We advocate for professional and entrepreneurial opportunities and facilitate conversations of hope, empowerment, and creativity to reduce military and civilian transition difficulties and to help our veteran and entrepreneurs families to thrive. Hi, I'm Niurka, your host. We invite you to be part of this journey as we, together, bring a positive change on new beginnings, opportunity, and success. Our new mini series will be introducing the art of business to share with you how it can enhance your life, your community, and your future. So stay tuned. And now, let's welcome Nefertiti San Miguel. She's a mixed art media artist, a Ikebanist, a performer, a speaker, and the founder of Etnia Fusion. She's here to share with you about the neuroscience behind the art of Ikebana. So stay tuned.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. And I'm going to start my presentation by not only sending much love and appreciation to the audience. So, that being said, I'm going to get started with my segment. For those of you who are not yet familiar with my work, my name is Nefertiti San Miguel. I am a mixed media artist, performer, educator, Ikebana practitioner, and also a big raving fan of neuroscience. So, what I'm going to present today is the neuroscience behind the Japanese art of Ikebana. And before I get into the content, I'm just going to share a few basic points and do a little bit of an introduction about myself so you can be familiar with my work and the reason why I'm bringing this content to you. I was born in South America. Some of my relatives, they were involved in the diplomatic works, so I was very fortunate because when I was growing up I had access to cultural diversity and a lot of international things that back in those days it was not yet a thing like it is right now, and there's more access to being cultural diversified. So I had kind of a head start before it was a trend. And one of my relatives, he lived in Japan and he got into the art of Ikebana. I didn't have the pleasure of meeting him because by the time that I came about to the planet, he was no longer in the family picture. But nonetheless, his teaching and his way of lifestyle got kind of passed down to me through other family members. So the Ikebana and the Japanese culture, it was part of my daily life, and as time progressed, one of the close friends to the family, it was a pioneer in neuroscience when that was just like science fiction. And I got that curiosity spark about how the brain works. How can you enhance your quality of life with those little tricks and hacks? So time passes by, things evolve. I personally get engaged into the art of Ikebana, and I start formal training in 2007. Then I start practicing neuroscience as a lifestyle and do my own research and applications for my personal work. So then 2020 comes and my world gets turned upside down, and it was just a very chaotic time. I know I was not the only one, but I I was in a very dark place. So flow of events happened and I started to experiment. I went back to Ikebana. because I had to do something with myself in the middle of the night when I was having a very unwanted insomnia attack, 3 a.m., nothing to do, looking up at the ceiling. And I work at a flower shop. So I start playing with the art of Ikebana. Then I decided that I needed to do something about my mental health because I was losing it. I got cancellations in all my special events, so the life of a performer was no longer existing. And I needed to do something to battle that depression. So I started experimenting, and that's how I came with a mindful combination of neuroscience and the art of Ikebana combined together. Now I take that as a passion, and I do library presentations. I am a guest in different types of events, and I'm bringing a different perspective, not only to the neuroscience as a standalone science, but also Ikebana, which usually is a standalone art. So I'm bringing this hybrid, and I call it my magic solution slash the Holy Grail. And I'm sure that if it worked out for me, it can work out for many of you. So I want to also engage a little bit in what is neuroscience and what is Ikebana as two different standalone modalities. So my approach to neuroscience is on the sense of anything that is related to the function and the managing of the brain. There are also other aspects into the equation, but that's the part that I concentrate. And the Ikebana part is Japanese heritage. They are very proud of it, but it's a little bit rigid. So I take it like a child's perspective. I like to play, I like to foster that inner child and bring the two together because the results are amazing. And Ikebana, it has been in the landscape of Japanese culture for centuries. Originally, it was practiced by the head priest and people running the shrines. Then it transferred to royalty, and then it transferred to samurais and the higher class in Japan. So it was very exclusive activity, and it was only performed by men. Then over the years, it turned out to be performed by females as well. So I bring that into the conversation to debunk the myth that if you're working with floral design, it's just for female or LGBT community. It's not true. This is suitable for everybody from young age, any gender. And actually, I have a fellow Ikebanese who is a retired army veteran from Norway, and he's one of the best Ikebanese that I have been in contact with. So that kind of blends into the conversation of business and art infusion for the veteran community. So I'm putting the two together. I have my notes here, so I make sure that I don't miss anything that I want to share with you. So the neuroscience behind Ikebana, it's going to break the pattern from your mental thoughts on what it might not be all that great, because you're going to engage into something that is very mindful and keeps you very zen and very connected. I like also the idea that you are bringing a little bit of biophilic feeling into your environment. And I want to note on the side that environment is very important because it's anything that is going to alter your behavior and your mental state and mood. So there are 9 different environments in the neuroscience world. The one that I concentrate the most is the physical, tangible environment. And I keep saying it over my presentations that I stress all the time the power of one. Because all you need is one little thing to trigger your mind to ruin your day, or one little thing to enhance your quality of life or make your day better than what already is. So by doing it strategically Ikebana and place it in your environment, you're going to be fostering not only a more sane environment, but as well, you are going to have a magical toolbox. Because for me, Ikebana have been the solution to my troubles. If I am sinking into depression, like I was 2 years ago, Ikebana and neuroscience combined, it was my solution. If you want to deliver smiles and celebrate somebody, like right now, it's graduation time, at least here in Boston with all the colleges and universities, it's a good skill to have. If you want to cheer up somebody who might be dealing with health issues, you have that wonderful skill under your belt. If you are, like in my case last year, grieving the loss of a loved one, for me, that was an outlet how to deal with those emotions through Ikebana and neuroscience combined together. If by any chance you have been in the position, like I have been multiple times over the years, that you are like, yes, I just conquered the world and I am doing so well and I have all these number of accomplishments and winnings, and you go and share it with the people in your circle and they're like, oh, that's nice, congratulations. And you don't have that warm, heartfelt involvement into your celebration. You feel kind of left out, alone, and you are like on your own, savoring those precious moments and accomplishments. So I learned that if I'm going to celebrate myself, I cannot wait for anybody else. I do it on my own. If somebody else wants to join the party, by all means, I welcome that. But it's no part of the expectations any longer, just because the number of disappointments that I have experienced over the year. Also, if you are needing to decompress and kind of engage into some sort of therapeutic activity, definitely Ikebana is the way to go, at least for me. So I am very passionate about this, and I just want the world to try it at least once and see how it might be a solution for their troubles as well. So I already talked about delivering smiles. And also, not only you're going to be enhancing the quality of your life, but the space, your physical space, and it definitely increased your mental health. So the other thing that I want to talk about is that, against the thought of many people that for you to get into floral design you have to spend thousands of dollars, which is true in a way, because I went through that level of investment myself. But once you learn the techniques and the possibilities, then you realize that you can look like a rock star with very minimal budget, and you don't have to do something bulky and flamboyant like the Western style of floral design. You can do something very simple, very minimalistic, and not only bring that sense of tranquility to your own space, but it's very minimal expense. And I have a sample here that I want to show and share with you. This is a clear vase. It has an opening here in the middle. I have a background in metalworks, so I did some wire wrapping to enhance the design and the opening here of the container. I'm using clear glass because that allows me to play with the texture and the colors floating in the water. And also, I have to play with the light and reflection. So I went to the garden. I clipped one loose leaf, which is inserted here, and I trim a snake plant, which it has a beautiful curve and a twist. And those two simple things, it makes a beautiful, very zen arrangement that you can have in your workspace or in your home and enhance that quality of living. And there's barely any dollar amount involved into this, because once you get the clear base, that's something that you can recycle and use multiple times. And you can go to a park, cut a couple of branches, and then place it strategically into a beautiful arrangement like this one. And not much more than that is required. You can even do things with dandelions, which for a lot of people, it has this connotation of being a weed or something undesirable. But you can do some amazing things with wheat as well, and things that for other people might be all not that great. And you have that charm and that power to bring those items into life, a different life, and showcases a beautiful part of nature. So I have another arrangement here that I'm going to reach out to the side and bring it into the screen so you have an idea of the possibilities. You work with the lines and the space, the color of the container, and just unleash your creativity. Foster that in your child. There's no restrictions. You work with the lines, the volume, the color, the mass, the shape of the container, and you can just get lost in the moment by working into this kind of therapeutic activity. And next thing you know, you get so lost in the moment that you are not going to be thinking about the unpleasantries of the world. So this is a wonderful way how to manage your emotions and have a better mental health.
A good leader always explains the why behind a task, because he's trying to develop his subordinates or his employees or her to buy into the vision, right? He or she's trying to inspire them, so they have to understand it. Whereas a manager is going to explain the how to get something done. I think that's probably the most simplest definition.
Wow. What do you throw about Nefertiti presentation? I was blown away. I love how she took these two seemingly world apart methodologies, neuroscience and Ikebana, and she mixed them together as part of her art and her lifestyle. Surprise, surprise, they work. Isn't that a great way to think outside the box? Pun intended, to look beyond the lines. She started playing with the art Ikebana as a way to heal and battle depression. She tell it when the world went nuts. She brought a different perspective by integrating neuroscience in the art Ikebana. Neuroscience help you break the patterns, while Ikebana is floral arrangement that represent time and throw that work with line and space, the color, the shape, and everything else. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the blue ocean strategy of mixing two industries together. Big companies like Cirque du Soleil that redefine the circus. There are no animals in and Cirque du Soleil, but we are willing to pay more for it. There are many people that practice the art Ikebana, and there are many more that practice the neuroscience art. But how many of them put it together? And that's what Nefertiti did. And on top of that, it's therapeutic. It's relaxing. It's a way for her to cope with her mental health. So share with us in social media, Umbrellas of Hope, what are two methodologies or two industries or two pieces of the puzzle that you think about putting together to create something new that breaks away from the competition and is creating a space for you. Hashtag Umbrellas of Hope.
Are you ready to be an entrepreneur? Entrepreneurs are confident, positive, creative, resourceful, and resilient people who are faced with problems and they create solutions. If this sounds like you, tune in to Founders Time to learn more and start your journey.
Hey, everybody. Are you dressed and having fun yet? Well, I am gussied up. Now, a little bit of trivia. I thought gussied up was a Southern term for when women are all dressed up in the South. They refer to them as gussied up. And kind of like when men are all dressed up, they are called Dapper Dan. But technically, it is a term used by Americans, Australians, and Canadians that refers to, and it comes back from the 1900s, and it refers to dressed and embellished. So here I am, all dressed and embellished. Now, I would have worn the glasses, but they're not quite indoor glasses.
You have and will continue to enjoy this journey in creativity with us. In today's world, where artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, advancing science, and autonomous vehicles is our new normal, creativity has never been more important. This new mini-series of Umbrellas of Hope was created in order to inspire you and empower you by giving you the creative confidence to redesign the world around you, to create new solutions that are invaluable for today's society, powered by your vision, your own unique talents, and limited only by your imagination. Our world, our society, our future needs you.